Good. We'll just start again. Good morning. It's when things go wrong that we might remind ourselves how amazing it is that quite often things go right. You know, it's sort of amazing. You know, it's amazing when we can be here like this, and we sort of start to take it for granted. Oh, you just see each other, hear each other. But anyway, here we are. I hope you're feeling well and bright this morning. I'm feeling quite bright, but not very well. I just seem to be coming down with a cold, so nose and throat and all is a bit unpleasant. C'est la vie. All right, let's just get into it. We've been exploring breath in different dimensions, really, this week. And I thought this morning we might just focus a little on death. On breath as death reflection. And, you know, everything ends, right? You can like it or not like it. You can be in denial of it. You can rage against it. But it's just true. Everything ends. Like your life and my life and the life of everyone we love. You are going to lose everyone that you love, or they're going to lose you. Everything that we cherish ends. Likewise, everything we struggle with and dislike also ends. Not just that line, oh, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. It's a reminder to zoom out a little, maybe, to have some larger perspective or freer perspective around the fleetingness of life. And the breath is just, like we've explored elsewhere in the week, the way the breath is showing us the nature of everything. Right? It's showing us that ending nature. Every few months, I mean, in-breath ends, and then the out-breath ends, and then that still point ends, and then an in-breath ends, etc. And excuse me. Ooh. So we can, you know, attending to endings is powerful, basically. It can be powerful in several different ways. Sometimes initially it can be disconcerting, frightening, depressing. You know, oh, everything ends. Oh, everything ends. Oh, everything which is dear to me ends. And in some ways, what's in the Christian tradition is called the dark night of the soul, which has sort of been adopted a little bit, actually, in the current Buddhist world. Sometimes on longer retreats, that sense of basically a kind of existential depression, or a sort of existential despair, an existential hopelessness, right? Which is quite normal to go through, actually, as a practitioner, as a phase. That kind of existential hopelessness is brought on often by attending to endings, like, oh, everything ends, everything ends. And that's totally okay to go through that phase. It's important even, maybe, to go through that phase. But the important thing is to recognize it's a phase. It's not the whole truth, right? It's not the whole truth that everything ends. Equally, implicit in that everything ends is that everything is constantly renewed. You know, everything is new. Everything is new. Everything is new. So we can focus on the fact that this life is ending, this life is ending, this life is ending. And it's a very, very good, very important focus, very sobering, very focusing contemplation, right? hey, this life is brief and it's slipping away from me. What do I want to do with it? You know? And likewise, also important to also kind of to reflect upon and contemplate and make room for the dynamism. Wow, this life is like, so far at least, I've woken up. I wake up every morning, you know, the end of the day, just gone into sleep, gone. And then, miracle, I wake up. You know, these cells renew themselves. This breath renews itself. This oxygen renews itself. Springtime for most of us at the moment, northern hemisphere, the sense of renewal. Right? So not every individual thing, not every individual Dhamma renews itself, but life is constantly, life is fecund, life is irrepressible. Irrepressible. And it's within the recognition that everything is constantly new, dynamic, generative, creative, fecund, irrepressible, that we can allow everything to end, allow everything to die. And recognizing that it, specifically oneself, which is the one we're most concerned about often, so allowing ourselves to die into life's irrepressibility. We're going to die. Life ain't going nowhere. Life ain't going nowhere. That's a profoundly wonderful recognition, not just as a thought, but if we really recognize it, really feel it, life isn't going anywhere. Life is irrepressible. Life is not in danger. Every phenomena in life is in danger. Life itself is not in danger. Couldn't be in danger. So that's the kind of territory of this. And then just within breathing, because that's the theme of the week, it's like letting yourself really enter into the renewal and the dying. Or just letting the miracle of the in-breath with its dynamism, its expansiveness, its irrepressibility. Just letting oneself feel that life bringing that, and then letting yourself actually feel the out-breath with a real quality. It's like reflecting on the out-breath, meditating on the out-breath with the reflection of death is, we could say, a rehearsal for dying well. And it's a rehearsal not just in the sense of planning for the future. It's a rehearsal in the sense of every out-breath where we do that, where we meditate on the out-breath as a contemplation of death. It's a rehearsal in the sense of going through our different layers of relationship to that. So which might be resistance, right? Just, not wanting to do that, not wanting to consider one's death, or maybe just agitation and distraction, right? Trying to latch onto something else, maybe fear. But whatever the layers we go through those layers towards a sense of peace and confidence. Peace, like just allowing the out-breath to melt into silence and stillness. And then an in-breath comes, and then allowing ourselves to melt, to dissolve into silence and stillness. And then an in-breath comes. Right? So you're practicing allowing yourself to dissolve into silence and stillness. So 3 benefits. 1 benefit, you get to go through and challenge and transform those layers of fear and resistance, etc., etc. Excellent. Right? Not just for this, but for the whole of life. Just getting more skillful and free around fear and resistance. Second benefit, You get to taste you get to taste silence and peace. You get to taste what it's like to let your nervous system just soften and settle. You get to taste what it's like to let your thoughts stop. Just for that moment at the bottom of the in-breath, where everything stops. So that's the second benefit. You get to taste silence and peace. And the third benefit is the confidence that comes online, like the confidence to be able to meet difficulties like resistance and fear. And confidence also in the fact that, a growing sense of confidence that comes out of that practice of feeling like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know when death is going to come. I don't know how death is going to come. But the increasing confidence that however it comes and whenever it comes, I'll be able to breathe out peacefully. My last out breath. And I don't know whether that sounds like a benefit to you or not, but please take it from me. That quality of confidence, the confidence that whenever and however death comes, I don't know. That's also an important part of it. I don't know. I'll only find out when I get there. But the feeling that one carries day by day, moment by moment, difficulty by difficulty, threat by threat when they arise. When one has a near miss in a car, or when one gets sick, or when one's confronted by bereavement of somebody else dying. The moments where death breathes on us or comes closer, that sense of confidence that I don't know, it's not in my control when it will come or how it will come. But that sense that however it does come and whenever it does come, I feel like, I'll be able to embrace it when I have to. Look death square in the eye when I have to. Make a little bow to death when I have to. All right, friends, please take your seat for meditation together. So, really come into your posture. It's really sensing just the natural liveliness that's here right now. An alive body. A sensitive, feeling body. Life's irrepressibility fizzing in your cells. Let your posture really be steady, stable. Let it be upright and bright. Excuse me, I'm going to put it on mute while I blow my nose. Let your posture be open in your chest. A sense of really kind of the whole of your front body, right? Open, receptive, available to the free movement of breathing. And then also let your posture have that quality of gentleness, relaxation, ease. Sense of resting into sitting here. And as you sit and settle, and as you just feel the naturalness of breath moving in you, see if you can invite your attention down into your low belly, down below your navel. Down into the lowest place where you can feel the swell of the in-breath and the softening of the out-breath. And these first minutes, just letting your attention really gather and settle here, down here. Down in your belly. Down here where the in-breath originates. Down here where the out-breath ends. And letting yourself really sense the beginning and the end. And the way life's irrepressibility just makes the in-breath happen. And just tracking, following, feeling the movement of the in-breath. Physical experience. From the first impulse of the expanding in-breath to the last sensation of the fading out-breath. And also staying present, staying really awake and sensitive down in your belly through that moment of pause between the end of the out-breath and the beginning of the in-breath. that moment of pause, that moment of silence and peace. So letting the in-breath enliven your cells, however long or short or deep or shallow it might be. And then letting the out-breath fade. As if leading you into death. Letting each out-breath lead you into silence and peace. So that there's this circular nature, right? Aliveness and renewal in the in-breath. Fading and softening in the out-breath. Silence and peace in the moment between breaths. Just notice any reactions, any emotions. What happens when you meet each breath, meet each moment in this way? What's it like to be enlivened by the in-breath? What's it like to surrender into the out-breath? What's it like to dissolve into silence and peace? life animating the in-breath. Surrendering into the out-breath. Opening to the taste of silence and peace. Stillness in the moment between breaths. These last minutes, letting your attention be most especially in the out-breath, Leave the in-breath alone. It'll take care of itself. And seeing what it's like to give yourself to that sense of coming to rest. Fading into stillness and peace. Breathing out. One or other of these out-breaths, sooner or later, will be your last. And may we all breathe more easily. May we all live fully and die freely. Yeah. All right. Well, if there are questions or comments, feel free. Feel free to make use of the time we have. If there are things you'd like to ask or explore, now's your chance. Just a daily reminder about Dana. There'll be a link at the end of the program. Actually, maybe there'll be a link. I was trying to put the welcome screen up that seemed to make the glitch happen this morning. So I will try to put the screen up at the end, that sort of the ending screen, but I don't know if it'll work. Anyway, the link is sangha.live/donate. That link is in the email you received about this session and one you receive every morning. And, unless you're here for the first time, you know very well all the things I say about Dana. So it's just that reminder of the goodwill that makes all of this turn. Goodwill, kindness, support, generosity. That is the engine of all this. It's not a transactional engine. There's no buying and selling of the Dharma in that way, right? There's me supporting you the best I can. There's the team of Sangha Life supporting us all the best they can to make everything work. And then there's you supporting us and each other the best you can. And that's a very beautiful engine to run on. Mutual support, mutual offering, mutual generosity, mutual care. So, hey, I've tried to support you the best I can. Please support us the best you can. Thank you. Francesca's asking, what is the amazing sounding animal Well, it might be the frogs outside. There's a pond outside my door here, and the frogs are busy often in the mornings. And it might be just the purring of Miss Priya, who just came and curled up and started washing herself and purring away in the middle of the sitting. And then I don't know how much her purring goes to the microphone, but there you are. There you are. Yes. All right. That's enough screen time for you. Zoop. Let's have a look. Margaret says the peace and silence at the end of the out-breath as a way of understanding and being calm about dying. Great. Yeah, great. Great. Lisa, I wonder if my difficulties getting off to sleep is a fear of surrender, of letting go. I don't know why, though. Any thoughts on how we can work with sleep issues? Sleep is tricky, but one thing I think, Lisa, is to do with the out-breath. Don't worry about the in-breath. Sometimes when we're feeling a bit anxious about sleep, we tend to over-breathe a bit, and that actually keeps the system a bit activated. And sensing into your lower belly, like your breath goes down much lower than we think. So just letting yourself feel the lowest belly, and then it's like sighing your way, maybe sighing your way into sleep. Yeah. Ruth says, I was only able to have a non-breath after the out-breath by unholding to create it. There I found spaciousness. Maybe with time it will come naturally. It comes through relaxation, Ruth. No need to artificially try to create that space, because it won't be stillness and peace. It'll be, it's tension, right? If you're forcing it, don't force it. Even if it's maybe very, very brief, end of the out-breath. Barely a gap, and then in-breath comes. That's okay. Barely a gap. Just let it be natural. Feel the out-breath, and the more you feel the out-breath, the more that gap sometimes may tend to open or lengthen. But don't make that into a goal. It's not that it's supposed to lengthen and open. Yeah. Oh, lots of questions this morning. Eleanor, I've previously been able to stay briefly and enjoy with the pause at the end, but adding the reality of contemplating to follow up the in-breath makes it more challenging to relax into. So let yourself be simple with it then, Eleanor. Simple. And if it seems too much to contemplate in the out-breath and the gap and the in-breath and the through, just follow what works for you. If you say you've been briefly able to stay enjoyably with the pause, follow what works for you. And if my instructions don't quite match, lead with your own best understanding. If my instructions are helpful for that, great. If at some point your own best understanding is of better use to you than my instructions, choose your best understanding and leave my instructions alone. All right. Caroline says, I can't really understand when we're told to pay attention to one bit of the breath rather than the other. I don't know where my intention is supposed to go in between. Well, in the end, most essentially, our attention is on attention itself. That's not a very good way of saying that. The real meditation is not really about focusing on breath, even though we've been talking about that all week. That's always slightly secondary to just a fact of being present and present. The here-ness is the real ground of meditation. And then within this sense of here-ness, like the very fact that we're awake, the very fact that consciousness is on, the very fact of awareness, in other words, that's really the ground of meditation. And within that, you can direct your attention any way you like, right? So we're directing our attention on breath. But more essential, more primary, more foundational than where we're directing our attention is sort of just the fact that we have attention. Oh, here. So you're just letting yourself be the here-ness in which breath is happening. And then within that being the here-ness, you can contemplate in all kinds of ways. You can contemplate impermanence. You can contemplate not self. You can track and contemplate your different emotional waves that come up. You can contemplate the nature of your mind and the sort of thought loops that you get into. You can contemplate the tendency to make up a sense of self and reinforce a sense of self, right? So you can direct your attention in all kinds of different ways. But fundamentally and more primary than where you're directing your attention is just the very fact that you have attention, that you're an awake human being. So we're making the primary contemplation the feel or quality of letting go, of softening, of fading, of coming to peace that's there in the out-breath. Right? That doesn't mean that you're not noticing the in-breath. You're just making most room for that. And then you might still actually be feeling the echoes of that silence and peace, even as the in-breath comes. And then that again. So that the feel or the echoes or the implications of that fading and that peace and that stillness can be felt and can last beyond just the movement of the out-breath. Just like in the other way around, you can still contemplate and feel the aliveness of the in-breath. You could contemplate just that through the whole cycle of the breath, right? Because even while you're breathing out, and even in the stillness and peace at the end of the breath, there is still the basic aliveness of being here. So you could contemplate the aliveness in all three parts. You could contemplate the fading or the letting go in all three parts. And you could contemplate stillness and peace in all three parts, right? But each of those three parts is the kind of the more prominent expression of those different elements. So if you're going to contemplate the fading and the coming to peace, you most essentially contemplate that through the tasting it in its most obvious expression in the out-breath every time it comes around. I hope that's clear. Ruth mentions a yoga teacher who says that the space at the end of the exhale is where the soul lives, and then says, I find I'm meeting my dear parents, both of whom recently died, in this space in an intimate and tender way. Beautiful, 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 Ruth. Yeah. Hard to explain, but right? Hard to make sense of how one can meet one's parents at the end of the out-breath, but actually totally livable, even though hard to explain. And we might not meet them in a way that others might understand what that to mean, how we met them, but beautiful. Just that meeting with, what did you say, in a way that's tender and intimate. Beautiful. And he says, thanks to meditation, I'm getting used to the idea of death. I have bone cancer and it can come. I still don't know when, but I have to think about it. I worked on quitting the people I love and the world I like. Still, I don't know about great sufferings. Oh, tender. Oh, I appreciate you speaking about it, Annie. And of course, we all can die any moment. We all can die today or tomorrow, etc. But when we have an illness or a life-threatening condition or cancer, as you mentioned, the truth of that is much more in our face. Yeah. What's next? Patricia, can we face the extinction of life itself in the universe? I have nothing to say about the extinction of life itself. All I know, and I'm not interested in the metaphysical or kind of thought-produced idea of it. All I know, and I know it in the absolute depths of my bones, is that life is irrepressible. The idea that you and I could know anything about life, the extinction of life in the universe. What? I don't even know what that means. Life is irrepressible. Everything that life produces is very pressable. You know, everything that every phenomena is bound for coming to an end. But life itself is irrepressible. And life, the idea of life in the universe being even contemplatable, right? Life's irrepressibility is also vast, like boundlessly, infinitely vast, infinitely incomprehensible. So I would say it's fruitless and frustrating to try to contemplate whatever you mean by the end of life, the extinction of life in the universe or something. All right, how are we doing? We're racing a lot of questions. How to work, Anne-Marie, how to work with feelings of nihilism when bringing attention to the death. Just go with them. Just stay through them. It's just a phase. Like we said, it's normal to confront fear, resistance, nihilism, hopelessness. Just, if it's too much, then come away from it. Go and contemplate something else. So contemplate beauty. Contemplate something that makes you feel a sense of wonder or gratitude or joy. You know, you have to see what your resources are. If feelings of nihilism just are too much and become too overbearing, then it's not helpful. You can't contemplate anything that you're overwhelmed by. Right. So before you get overwhelmed, come away to something else. But if the resources are there, it's totally fine to go through feelings of nihilism, hopelessness, resistance, fear. You know, it's good for us to go through that stuff. Right? And like I say, it's not good for us to go through it to the point that it becomes too much or overwhelming. So don't let it get even close to overwhelming. Sometimes it might be intense. We feel like, oh God, I just feel intensely despairing. But there's a background kind of meta awareness where I know it's okay for me to go through this. I know it's just a mind state. No problem. No problem. So then, so you can just let yourself kind of go through all of those changing states. But if they feel like they're getting too much purchase, you're getting too involved in them, go somewhere else. Go and contemplate the wonder of trees, or listen to music and be reminded of beauty. It's just as, you know, beauty and creativity and wonder and gratitude are just as much part of the structure of being human as is the fact that we're going to die. So, you know, you can choose your contemplation object, right? And choose according to that which is suitable for you in the moment. All right, Henry, I found my mind really busy, and then at times I could let go and just be in body and space around me. I found a shift in and out of bodyfulness and mindfulness. Any suggestions to maintain this grounded feeling? No, don't bother about trying to maintain it, Henry. Just let it come in and out. Enjoy it when it's there. Right? Let yourself really fill out into it when it's there. And when it's not, when you're busy, that's also part of your practice. That's how you get to know your mind, by getting to know your mind. So don't worry about or imagine that some feeling of stability or peace should be there longer or better or more sustained. Right? Enjoy it when it's there, and then practice with whatever else is there when that arises. All right, I see there were probably more I didn't get to, but I managed to race through quite a lot of questions there. So I'll end here. I'll put up that closing slide if it works. I'll thank you for your practice and your presence and your sincerity and your goodness, and I'll hope to see you tomorrow.